So we're going to name this window 1. Going to add a new material to this window, and it is also going to be a brown color. Like so should be fine. Then I'm going to go into window frame, base mode, select those two faces, add a new material and assign it. Alright, from here I'm going to select transparency, and I'm going to turn the alpha all the way down. I'm actually going to turn it up just a little bit because that's going to make it maybe 0.01, 0.1 for the alpha. Turn on mirror. No, I'm sorry. I'm going to turn on ray trace right here. The index of reflection I'm going to set to about 1.5. The depth is going to go up to 6. Fresnel 1. I'm going to leave blend at its default amount. Filter is going to be 0.3. And my fall off will be 1. Specularity is going to be 1. Turn the diffuse to about 0.1. From here, my reflectivity is going to be 0. My depth is going to be 2. My Fresnel is 0. So we'll pretty much just leave all of these at about the same. Actually, I'm going to set the intensity to the intensity for the specular to 0.25. Alright, and then I'm going to go up here to the object, and I'm going to select transparency. And as you can see, that allows us to see right through the window. So I'm going to duplicate these windows and fill in all of the empty window holes that I have in this house. Please remember to use Alt D instead of Shift D. Okay, now I have windows placed all throughout my house. The next thing I'm going to do is go ahead and add a texture to the house itself. So I'm going to select my house, add a new texture. I want this one to be completely white. And I'm going to turn the specular down. And from here, I'm going to add a new texture. I'm going to call this one outside house. And I'm going to call this outside house. Okay. Place that as hard. Blender, global, cube. And oh, no, sorry. This needs to be normal. Then I'm going to change this to white. So you set that to Blender Original Cube and Normal. Alright. Now we're going to do our first render. So I'm going to Shift A, add a camera, grab it, 0, RR twice, Shift A, add a light source, we'll just say sun for now, and F12. As you can see, we can see through the windows. Perfect. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and delete that lamp, go into side view, Shift A, I'm going to add in, I'm not sure what I just added, Shift A, I'm going to add an icosphere, going to scale it up, perfect. Actually, I just want it to be around my house. There we go. Gonna go into edit mode, select the bottom vertices, subdivide it once. Nah. Maybe I will. W to subdivide. Select all, W to subdivide it once, and from here I'm going to select the top vertice right there. Shift A, cursor to active. I'm going to tab out of edit mode, Control Alt Shift C, and origin to 3D cursor. Shift A, I'm going to add a spot lamp. I'm going to come over here and I'm going to take the distance down to about 10, and the energy is going to be 0.1. It looks pretty dark now, but we're actually going to add a lot of these little lights. So I'm going to go ahead and save it. I'm going to press Control A to apply the rotation and scale, and then I'm going to select that lamp, shift select that icosphere, and I'm going to Control P to parent it. Set parent. Awesome. Now I'm going to come over here, select the icosphere. I'm going to name it Sky Dome. And I'm going to go down to duplication. I'm going to select verts, and then I'm going to turn on rotation. From here, with the Sky Dome still selected, I'm going to press space, flip, nope, normals. Oh, I'm sorry, I need to be in edit mode. A to select all, flip, normals. Press enter, and that's going to turn all of those lights inward so that it faces the house. I'm going to turn on transparency, F12. Okay, so now when we render, you see a bunch of little spotlights on my house anyways. Now we don't want that. So basically what we're going to do is grab the icosphere, press 1 to go into front view, and scale it up. What's happening is the lights are too close to the house and they don't have enough room to basically span out, I would say. So it's creating a bunch of little spotlights on the house. If we zoom out, render again, you can see the lights have spread it out a little bit more, and you get a much nicer render. From here, we're going to go ahead and go to our Materials tab, create a new material. We're going to select Wire, turn Transparency on, and Z Transparency with 0 alpha. Now, this is a lot of clutter, and it's obviously going to get in the way of with what we're working with. So we're going to come up here to the top, or at least in my top, and if you have the standard setting for Blender on, this will be your top right as well. You're going to select this little eye right there, and it's basically just going to hide it from you. Now what happens is if you press H to hide it, it won't render. So all of the lights won't render, but if you hide it in the way that I've just shown you, all of the lights will render. F12, perfect. Alright, now we're going to add a little bit of grass. Shift A, add mesh plane 7, and I'm going to scale this way up like so, maybe even a little more. Awesome. Alright, I'm going to add one more thing. I'm actually going to add a sunlight. Oops, F12. Much better. Just take that out just a little bit. 7, take it over to the side of the house. This is going to cast shadows for us. F12. Hopefully it'll cast shadows. Alright, from here I'm going to go ahead and select this plane, add a new material, call it grass, and I'm going to go to textures. I have a grass texture saved, so you can Google free textures, free grass textures, and you should be able to find it somewhere. Awesome. And now I'm going to go to image mapping. It's set on repeat. Mapping. Set it to global, and I'm going to do 20, 20, and 20. One of these doesn't matter. The Z won't matter. Now basically what you're doing is repeating that texture 20 times within one of these little squares. I'm pretty sure that's the way that works. Now it's doing it a little too much for me, so I'm gonna redo it, and that's still too much. 5, 5. That's a little bit better. Looks like a bunch of patches of grass in there.